amigo.
So good afternoon, everyone. Let's start today's class. And the last speech we did yesterday was of Sebastian. Sir, you may thank yourself. Means Sebastian asked King Alonso to blame himself for the death of his son and for getting separated from his daughter also. Because now he has married his daughter to King of Tunis, and so he'll not be able to see her again because Africa and Italy, they were quite far off, and it's not possible to go there quite often. So Alonso says, "Pray thee peace." You were so Alonso is like he as it is, he is depressed, and see if you're sad, you are repenting on what you did, and then somebody comes and tells you that it's your fault. Now you are suffering because of your fault. So what will happen? You will feel even more bad. So Alonso requests Sebastian to please keep quiet. He says, "I request you, please keep quiet. Please leave me alone. I am not in a position to talk at the present moment." So, but Sebastian is not someone who can be easily dissuaded, and so he says, "You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us." So he said that we came down on our knees, we begged you. Importuned means we begged, we prayed, we requested you, otherwise by all of us. Otherwise means we requested you not to get your daughter married to the king of Tunis, not to get your daughter married to such a far off country. So all of us requested you, all of us begged in front of you, all of us went down on our knees to persuade you not to do this. And a fair soul herself weighed between loathness and obedience, at which end of the beam should bow. So, and the fair soul here is a reference to Claribel, right? And the fair soul herself, the fair soul who was getting married, that is your daughter Claribel, she also herself weighed between loathness. Loathness means unwillingness and obedience. So your daughter herself is stuck between unwillingness. She was reluctant to get married to the king of Tunis. She didn't want to marry king of Tunis, right? She didn't want to get married and go to Africa. So she herself was not happy with this marriage. So she was stuck between unwillingness and obedience. But she was your daughter. It was her duty to obey you. So she was, see, children in those days were very obedient to their parents, not like today's children, who don't give any heed to what their parents say. So, if you remember in Merchant of Venice also, Portia, how obedient daughter she was. She even obeyed the wish of her dead father. So they were trained in such a manner, they were made in such a manner that they were brought up in such a manner that they were supposed to always obey their parents, whether they liked it or whether they didn't like it. So your daughter Claribel was stuck somewhere in between loathness, unwillingness to get married to the king of Tunis, and obedience. Right? So she didn't want to disobey you, and she didn't want to get married to king of Tunis. So it was like she was somewhere in between that balance, that scale. Right? On one side, there was obedience. Right? She has to obey her father, and on the other side of the queen was her dislike, her reluctance to get married to the king of Tunis. So finally, she obeyed you and got married to the king. At which end of the beam should bow? So she was also in a dilemma. She was also not sure which way she should go, right? Which scale, which side of the scale she should bend. You have lost your son, I fear forever. So now Sebastian says that you, my dear brother, king of Naples, you have lost your son, and I'm very sorry to say, I'm afraid to say that you have lost your son forever. Your son is not going to come back again. Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business, making than we bring men to comfort them. So he says, because of this business, because of this act which you did of getting your daughter married to Africa. See, all these people who died, I mean, they didn't die. None of them was killed in this shipwreck because it was just an illusion. But they are of the opinion that so many people have died. So that is what he says of Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business. In them of this business means the more widows have been caused because of this business of yours. And which business? The business of getting your daughter married to the king of Tunis. Because if you would have not taken this decision, then we would have been in Naples only. No need to take a sea voyage. And then no shipwreck. So all of us have lived, all of us would have lived happily, peacefully in Naples. So this plan of yours of getting your daughter married to the king of Tunis. So this is responsible for having so many widows in Milan and Naples. Because so many men who were on board the ship, they have died. So then we bring men to comfort them. So there are more number of widows in Milan and Naples than we are carrying men to comfort them, to console them. The fault's your own, and it is just because of your fault. You are the only person who is to be held responsible for this. You are the only person who is to be blamed for this. Alonso. So is the dearest of yours. So he says, King Alonso says, yes, I know it's my fault. And because it is my fault, so my loss is also the greatest. I have lost both my children. I'm far away from my daughter. It's quite possible that I'll not be able to see her again. And my son has been killed in the shipwreck. He's dead now. So because it was my fault, because I am the person who should be blamed, so my loss is also the acutest. My loss is also the greatest. I am the one who is undergoing the maximum amount of pain because of this. Gonzalo, my Lord Sebastian, the truth you speak that lacks some genuine. So he says that my Lord Sebastian, now Gonzalo interferes and he says that Lord Sebastian, you might be speaking the truth. Means whatever you are saying, whatever you are saying to King Alonso, it might be quite true. Right? Might be the fact. But it lacks genuine. See, when a person is already sad, right? When a person is already depressed and you go and you start blaming the person for what all happened, it will make him even more sorrowful and it will make him even more sad. So that is why Gonzalo says that I know that it's whatever you are saying, it might be true, but your truth lacks gentleness. But it's like at this moment, whatever you are talking is very harsh, it's very cruel. So this is not what he means to say is that this is not the proper time, this is not the proper occasion to say all these things. This is not the right time to blame your brother for what all happened and the time to speak in it. So this is not the befitting time to talk about all these things. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster. What you are doing is you are rubbing the sore. What is the sore? Sore is a painful area, right? The area where you have some pain or which is creating some problem. So he says that instead of bringing some plaster, plaster here means the medicine. Instead of applying some medicine on it, instead of applying some medicine on his sadness, on his sorrow, what you are doing, you are rubbing the painful part. You are aggravating his pain. You are increasing his pain with your words. So this is not the right time to talk like this. So when you should bring the plaster. When bring the plaster means when you should apply some medicine, you are actually aggravating his sore, this painful area. Sebastian, very well. Antonio. And most chirurgically means who is a chirurgeon? Chirurgeon means a surgeon, right? A surgeon, you know, who does the surgery. So, and most chirurgically. So he says, actually, because he talked about the medicine and he talked about the sore. So Antonio said, yes, and he is doing it most chirurgically means he is doing this like a surgeon. Like a surgeon, he is rubbing his painful spot. Gonzalo, it is foul weather in us all, sir. So Gonzalo again continues with his job of trying to console King Alonso. He has been doing this from the beginning of the scene. His only job is to go on comforting the King Alonso when he is least interested in what Gonzalo is talking about. But he is someone who is not to be dissuaded. He will never give up, right? So he starts talking further. It is foul weather in us all, good sir. So he says, good sir is Alonso. Sir, it is like we all of us are feeling sad. All of us are in a gloomy mood. Nobody is happy, right? When you are cloudy, cloudy here means gloomy. So he says that when you are sad, you being our king, you being our head, you being our leader, if you are sad, none of us can be happy. So foul weather means gloomy and cloudy also means gloomy. So if you are gloomy, then we will also not be happy. We also cannot be cheerful if you are sad. So now Sebastian catches this phrase foul weather. He says foul weather. So Antonio says very foul. Gonzalo had a plantation. So they start commenting on the weather of the island that the weather is very foul. Yes, very foul. Gonzalo had a plantation on this isle, my lord. So now Gonzalo changes the topic and he says that if I had a colony on this island, right? If here plantation doesn't mean growing plants. Here plantation means colony, right? If I had if this island was given to me for colonization, then my lord. So again he is interrupted. There is a dash, so he is interrupted. Antonio starts talking, and Antonio says he will store it with nettles. So what he'll do, what Gonzalo will do, he completes his sentence and he says that then Gonzalo will plant nettle seeds. Then what are nettle seeds? Those thorny shrubs, right? Normally wild ones. You must have seen they grow on their own. So those weeds and thorny shrubs he will grow. Sebastian, or docks or melon, or else he will grow those weeds and melons. Melons are the fruits. So he will grow these things. So he means to say yes. If they have his meaning of plantation was colony, setting up a colony, right, on this island. But Sebastian and Antonio took it as planting trees. Had a plantation of this island. So they start talking about planting those weeds and nettles and thorny shrubs, right? So both of them are taking the meaning of plantation differently. Gonzalo, and were I the king on it, what would I do? So Gonzalo says, and so he continues with his own talk, Gonzalo, and he says that had I the plantation of this island, if I had the power to set up a colony on this island, and if I were the king of this island, right, then what would I do? So now he is talking that if I was given the power to rule upon this island, if I was the ruler of this island, and I had a colony on this island, then what would I do? Sebastian, escape being drunk for want of wine. So he again comments on his statement and he says, then he will remain sober because this island doesn't have any wine. For the want of wine means for the lack of wine. Where will you find wine on the island? It's not possible. On this uninhabited island, you will not be able to find wine. So Sebastian says that yes, if he would be the king of this island, then he will remain sober because there is no wine. Remain sober means remain normal, not being drunk. For the lack of wine, because this island has scarcity of wine, there is no wine available on the island, and so he will remain sober as a king. Gonzalo, in the Commonwealth, I would, by contraries, execute all things for no kind of traffic. So he says that in my kingdom, in my Commonwealth, what will happen? I would, by contraries, I will not follow the typical procedure and the typical ways of ruling. What will I have? I will be. I will not follow the normal customs and the normal ways. I will rule this island in a very unaccustomed manner. Execute all things. So all the things upon this island. If I am the ruler of this island, then all the things upon this island will be done differently. I'll not follow the normal rules and regulations of governance on this island for no kind of traffic. And how will he do that? He says that there will be no trade, no kind of trade would be allowed in my island. So my island will be, my kingdom will be, my commonwealth will be very different from the other estates, and there will be, how will it be different? He has described how will it be different. You need to please make a note of what all Gonzalo says here. How will his island be different? What all he suggests for his commonwealth. Why? Because they can be asked in this context question. So would I admit no name of magistrate? So he says, the first thing he says is that there will be no trade, no kind of traffic. Traffic means trade. So I won't allow any kind of trade to be conducted in on my island. Would I admit no name of magistrate? So no trade would be allowed, and there will be no post of magistrate. Letters. Letters means literature. There will be no study of literature. Should not be known. Nobody will know anything about literature. Then there will be no one who is rich. Riches, poverty, and use of service. None. Contract, succession, bond, bound of land, tilth, vineyard, none. No use of mill, corn, or wine, or oil. No occupation. All men idle. All. So this is what he plans for his commonwealth. Right? He suggested earlier that my commonwealth will be very different from the typical one. So this is how he wants to make it a different one. It says that no trade, then no name of magistrate, there will be no post of magistrate, no literature will be studied and should not be known. So nobody will know anything about literature. Then there will be no one who is rich, and there will be no poverty. So rich and poor will also not be there. And use of service. There will be no servants upon my island. None. So no servants, none means no servants. Nobody will be subordinate to another. Then nobody will enter into any kind of contract. Succession. Succession means no right to succession of property. No succession of property will be given. Why? Because there will be no ownership of property. So if there will be no ownership, then there will be no right of succession. So no succession of property will be there. Bond, bound of land. So there will be no boundary. Bond means boundary. Bound of land means there will be no boundaries and landmarks on my island. Tilth. Vineyard, none. So there will be no vineyards. Vineyards, those grapes are grown in vineyards. So and vines are grown in vineyards. Other trees also. Peas also is a vine, and grapes also. Grapes are normally grown. The plant of grapes, they are in the form of vines. So there is no vines will be grown on this island. And tilth means agriculture. So no agriculture upon my island. So nothing will be there. Nobody will do anything. No trade. No servants. No one rich. No one poor. No magistrate. No literature. No right to succession. No boundaries. Nothing. No vineyards, no agriculture. No use of metal. Metal means metal. So no use of metal. No corn will be grown. There will be no wine. There will be no oil. So nothing. no occupation. So when there will be no trade, no agriculture, then what is the need of occupation? Then there will be no occupation for anyone. All men idle, all. So everyone will just enjoy life doing nothing at all. Right? All of them will be free. And women too. So then he said that he rectified himself. It's not only that all men will be idle, women will also be idle, but innocent and pure. So women and men both will be idle, but they will be pure and they will be innocent. Means they will not be dishonest and shoot people. So my island will only have innocent humans, no sovereignty. And then he said that there will be no ruler on this island, on my island. So what did he do? He contradicted his own statement, and then Sebastian makes a note of it. Sebastian says, yet he would be the king on it. So yet he would be the king on it, because in the beginning he said, "Na, if I were the king on it," and in the end he said, "No sovereignty." No sovereignty means there is no ruler, and then there are no subjects. So what did he do? His beginning contradicted the end of his speech. Are you getting? What he said in the beginning, whatever Gonzalo uttered in the beginning, that is contradictory to what he said in the end. So that point was noticed by Sebastian, and he says, yet he would be the king on it. Means there will be no sovereignty, but he will be the ruler of this island. So how is it possible? When there is no ruler on this island, so how can he be the ruler of this island? So Antonio says, the later end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning. So the end of his commonwealth, the end of his ideal estate has forgotten the beginning of it. Right? Gonzalo, all things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor. Endeavor means effort. So all the things, see, nobody will put in any effort to produce anything, produce anything. So anything which is naturally produced will be consumed by the people of my island. So all things in common nature means in common use will be should produce without sweat and endeavor. So they will be produced naturally, right? Nobody will go and plant seeds and produce. So anything which is available, which grows on its own, that will only be consumed by the people. Should produce without sweat and endeavor. Treason, felony, sword, bike, knife, gun, on need of any Indian. So he said there will be no treason. Treason means disloyalty. There won't be any disloyalty in on my island. Felony. Felony means crime. So there won't be any crime upon my island. In these weapons and tools and instruments like swords, pike is again it's like the pointed edge of the spear. It's a weapon. Right? So knife, no gun, and no need of any engine. Engine here means an instrument which is used to torture or to murder anyone. Here it's a engine means you can say weapon. What is the use of a weapon? To torture or to kill anyone. So no instrument which is used to kill anyone or to torture anyone will be there upon my island. Would I not have? Would I not have means would not be there in my community. But nature should bring forth of its own kind. So all the things will be there, will be brought by nature, will be produced by nature. All poison, all of them. And all the things which will be produced by nature, they will be abundant to support, they will be enough, they will be sufficient to support feed my innocent people. So these natural products which are produced by without any human effort, they will only be consumed and they will be in abundance. They will suffice to feed my people, my innocent people. Sebastian, no marrying among his subjects. So Sebastian adds something to what Gonzalo was saying. He says that, and there won't be any kind of marriage among his subjects. Means his people will also not get married. Antonio, none or I. Antonio says yes, no marriage. Everyone will be like a wed bond. I would with such perfection govern, sir. But answer is Gonzalo is not paying any heed to what they are saying. He is going on with his speech. He says, I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the rule. He says, and the way I will rule my island will be so perfect that my uh, kingdom will excel the golden age. Right? The golden age means when the people were very happy, when there was peace in the kingdom in Europe. So it's a reference to that. So my perfection, I will like govern with perfection, and people will be happy in my commonwealth. So excel means surpass. I will surpass the golden age. My uh, rule will be better than the rule of the golden age. Sebastian, save his majesty. So he says, yes, may God bless may God save his kingship. He will be a great king, because he said na, that I will govern even better than the golden age. So Sebastian says, yes. Then like people say na, long live the king. And he says, Zindabad, Zindabad. So they are talking like this. Save his majesty. So may God save his kingship. He will be such a great king. Antonio, long live Gonzalo. So long live Gonzalo means long live King Gonzalo. Gonzalo. And do you mark me, sir? But Gonzalo is talking to Alonso. Says, and are you listening to me, sir? Sir is for King Alonso. Says, are you listening to me, sir? Alonso, pray thee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me. So he says, please, I request you, no more. Stop this nonsense talking. Talking. Thou dost talk nothing to me means your talk is meaningless to me. I am not at all interested in what you are saying. My mind is completely absorbed in the sorrow. So, your talk is not making any difference. The only thing which it is doing is irritating me. So, please stop this meaningless talk. It's not affecting me. Gonzalo, I do well believe your highness. So Gonzalo says, yes, sir, I very well believe you. Whatever you are saying, that is true. I know that you are not paying any heed to my talks. You are not listening to what I am talking, and you are getting irritated. I know this, sir. And did it to minister occasion to this gentleman. But now I'll tell you why I was talking all this nonsense. Why I was talking this senseless stuff. It was just to minister occasion to these gentlemen. Means minister occasion here means just to entertain these gentlemen. These gentlemen is a reference to Antonio and Sebastian. Because all this while, what have they been doing? They have been mocking and ridiculing them. Na? So, what Gonzalo was doing, he was giving them more reason. Right? He was giving them more stuff to entertain themselves. So, that is what he told Alonso. That I do understand, sir, that you are not interested in my talks, in all this rubbish which I am saying. But I was saying all this just to entertain these two gentlemen who are standing here. That means Antonio and Sebastian, and did it to minister who are of such sensible and nimble lungs that they always used to laugh at. Why? Because these two gentlemen who are standing here, they have got such sensitive and nimble. Nimble means fickle-minded lungs. Right? So it was believed that lungs are responsible to make you laugh. So they are of such fickle-minded, and their lungs are so sensitive that they laugh at almost anything and everything. So because they are fond of laughing at nothing, so I was talking so much rubbish. Right? I was talking such meaningless stuff. I was talking nonsense for all this while, because these two gentlemen who are standing here, they are very fond of laughing at. They have got such sensitive and such fickle lungs that fickle here means easily aroused, right? Easily excited. So their lungs are so easily excited that they laugh at almost nothing. This irritates Antonio, and he says, "It was you we laughed at." Said, hey, don't be mistaken. We were not laughing at what you were saying. Your stuff was not at all entertaining to us. Right? You are not entertained by your stuff. It was you we were mocking at. We were laughing at you, right? We were jeering at you, Mr. Gonzalo. You were not. Your talks were not entertaining for us. So we laughed at you. It was you we laughed at means we laughed at you and not what you were saying. Who is this kind of merry fooling? Am nothing to you. So you may continue and laugh. So Gonzalo said, okay, fine. If if you are laughing at silliest trifles, so if it is a question of laughing at useless things, then I know I can stand. I cannot stand in front of you. You people are much greater than me when it is a question of laughing at all the nonsense stuff. Then I don't have a comparison with you. You people are the greatest in it. If there is a question of laughing at all the nonsense trivial stuff, at nothing means rubbish, useless, nonsense things, right? If it is a question of laughing at foolish things, then you occupy a greater position than me. I am nothing in front of you. This is what Gonzalo said. So you may continue and laugh at nothing. So then you continue and keep on laughing because I am nothing in front of you. So you can continue and laugh at nothing. And you said that you were laughing at me and I am nothing in comparison to you people. So you can go on, keep on laughing at nothing. What a blow was there given. So Antonio said that he has given us a good hit. Blow means hit. He has given us a good hit. He has given us a good reply.